In this video, we'll be providing an overview on how you can create your own Kbases in SEER-H. As you likely already know, SEER-H comes installed with a variety of preloaded Kbases. If we go to the general hardware and then select applications, you can see an example of all the applications that we have for SEER-H. Generally, you would select the Kbase you want, hit OK, and then modify it within this parameter section. However, if you are finding that there's a specific element that whenever you use, you always have to modify, you may want to create a custom Kbase so that you aren't always having to do that. So for example, let's say this RF machine housing is a pretty regular element in your model. If every time you're using it, you're always having to zero out this percent aluminum and then make percent steel alloy 100%, you may want to create a Kbase so that you aren't always having to adjust this material. To do this, you're going to go and open up a blank SEER-H model. From the home screen, you're going to go to the advanced section, and then you're going to select the maintain knowledge bases. As soon as you select that, you'll notice that in this window, you have access to all the Kbases that are currently in the SEER-H model. Using these two drop-down windows, you can filter this by selecting something like the application and then selecting the general hardware. And now the only things in this window will be the applications for the general hardware element. If we wanted to edit one of these, we can select the Kbase we wanted to edit and then use the edit button to change just that Kbase. In this example, however, we want to create a Kbase. So we're going to be selecting add. Once you hit the add, you'll see this window, the create/modify work element window, come up. This is going to tell SEER-H what starting point you want. If we go back to that new gen model, we can double click on the RF machine housing, and you can see that originally we had used the electronic enclosure ruggedize. To keep it simple for us, we're going to use that as our starting point. So we'll use the element type to go to general hardware, and then we'll use the application to find the electronic enclosure ruggedize. The last thing we need to do is we need to give it a description. This description is going to be in the name that appears in this application drop-down list. And since this is for the RF machine housing, we're going to stick with that name. And then we'll select OK. Now, once we select OK, you will notice that within this window, you have all the settings that are typically seen with that electronic enclosed ruggedized. For this example, we are going to be adjusting this percent aluminum and percent steel. And we can do that by either double clicking and adjusting, or we can go back to the new gen and we can just copy the parameters that we want to have adjusted. And it's just that simple. And now we can save this Kbase so that it's within the model the next time we open it. And to do that, you're going to click on this save button. Now, when you get to here, there's a couple things to note. The first thing is the save type as. When you click on this, you can see that you can save this as a number of different categories. You can save it as a class, as an application, as a platform, as an operation support, as an acquisition category, or as a development standard. Now, when considering which Kbase to use, I like to refer to this image. SEER-H loads parameters in a very orderly fashion. First, the application will adjust a number of parameters. Then the platform will override some of the parameters that have been adjusted. Then the ONS will override even more parameters, and so on and so on and so on. And so when selecting this Kbase, you want to keep that into consideration. If you're going to be adjusting something like new design and you save it as an application Kbase, when you go to open SEER-H and then set your acquisition category, the acquisition category will overwrite that Kbase setting. Since this is material, we can select the application Kbase because the rest of the Kbases won't affect it. Now, this file name will be the name that pops up in this Kbase folder. So we can give it the RF machine name, and we will save it. Now, when we open up a new SEER-H file, if we go to new estimate, we'll just hit finish for now. When we go to insert a new element, we'll go to general hardware. When we go down to the R's, you will see that new RF machine housing Kbase that we have created. When we hit OK, you can see that the percent aluminum has been zeroed out and the percent steel alloy is 100. You can use this create Kbase for any of the Kbases. So if you'd like to modify a standard or acquisition category, or even a platform, you can use this to create custom Kbases for all of those. The last thing to consider when creating your own Kbase is the help file. If we click on this and we go to the help file, you'll notice that if we go down to the R's, there is no RF machine housing because we have not added a help for it. To do that, you can go to the help file, which can be found by going to this PC, OS, Program Files, SEER, and then selecting the SEER model that you're going to be using. So for us, 8.0, and then selecting the help file here. And in this, you will see all the help that is embedded in SEER. For us, we'd want to scroll down to the Kbase section. And then under the Kbase section, we're going to be looking for the general hardware application. And then you can update this help file to add help that gives description on what type of Kbase it is, what it should be used for, and so on. Now, you will have to know HTML to be able to update this file. We hope you found this video helpful. And as always, if you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to the Galera support team. And so be careful when selecting this and try to select the appropriate level. If you are adjusting something like the development standard or the production standard, saving it as an application will have it so that when you open up SEER and then set your standards, it may override the settings that you have placed there.